Let's draw red pandas. How do we do that though? How do we get started? Let's use these gumdrops to help us. Let's simplify the head into these basic shapes. Here's a gumdrop shape we can use for the head. Another one halfway down and centered can be for the area around the eyes and around the white markings on the face. And then one inside of that can be for the muzzle. Inside of that, add your nose shape, and underneath, just think of a gumdrop flipped upside down and maybe squished a lot more. And you have the chin. Add two elongated shapes for the ears and you're done. And off the corners, I'm going to draw the eyes. Now for these, I'll draw something almost like a circle, but it's a little bit squished. And then making sure the slant is coming in right onto the corner of that nose box. Then we'll do a similar shape for the ears, just an elongated shape and a little bit lopsided from the other shapes. And there you have it. Right there you have a red panda. We're going to take it a step farther though. This is a good starting place, but we are going to go over the top with some more detailed shapes. Now, I have drawn darker than I usually would because I want it to show up on the video. So make sure that you draw fairly lightly. Now for the eyes, after I get the exterior shape down, I add the highlight. And then after I add the highlight, I just simply shade it in. Same for the other eye. There's the highlight, then pick a value and shade it in. I don't know if you can hear that bird. It's right outside my studio window. Now for the center, I'll go darker because that's the pupil. Now, right on these lines, kind of like notes on a musical staff, I'm drawing over the top, adding these fur shapes. And I'm keeping it random. I'm not too concerned about the way it's looking. Like I care, but I'm just keeping the drawing loose and looking at the fur, seeing how it lays, seeing the flow of it, and then I'm just doing something that feels like that. So I'm not really copying the picture to the T. I'm using it as inspiration. And there's more fur on the chin, using these abstract shapes. Define the lip there a little bit with some fur. And shade it in so it makes sense to us. Alright, and for the nose, there's a nostril. There's another one. Just simple U shapes. And then I'm thinking about where the light is and where that will cast shadow. So the light's above us. It's going to be hitting the top of the nose. The front plane and underneath side of the nose will be going into shadow. Whenever I draw, I think about those two things. Light and shadow. Where's the light source? What's the shape? And then the shape's going to determine the shadow. So I just divide it into light and shadow, two values, and then from there I'll go darker or lighter as I need to. Okay, now for the whiskers, I usually do 3 lines of these square-ish shapes. I keep them kind of neat, but fairly random, and I just run them down like that, 3 on each side. And I think about it going around a ball shape, because the muzzle is round right there. So think about drawing those around a shape. Let those whisker shapes determine or really explain that round muzzle. Alright, moving on. Drawing some fur back by the ears, coming down. Just keep it random. Think about the way the fur looks. There's these white patches on either side of the face, these white markings. So I'm adding those right here. I'm keeping my line work simple as well. Simple shapes, simple line work. Coming down with some more lines here. They have these fluffy little heads. Let's add some fur up there. There's something so satisfying about drawing fur. I love the way it flows and it just moves around, how it looks on the form. Keeping it random. Add your whiskers, nice and bold and long. You can get rid of some of that initial line work at this point. I'm using a pen eraser. So just kind of go back over, get rid of lines you don't want. And then I'm coming back in with my 8B pencil. All this secondary work is with an 8B pencil. So the ears have some shadow in there, so I'm shading that in. Adding some more fur shapes coming down the side. Now after I get solid line work in. After it's looking good, it looks like a red panda as it is now, right? After that stage is done, then I go back over and I start shading. I start explaining the form with shading. So I'm going dark because there's dark fur back there. It's also going into shadow. Right under the eyes, I'm going to add a few more shapes in here. But under the eyes, there's these dark markings that go down. So I'm just going to shade that in. And it goes darker over the top of the eyes too. Now I'm going to shade in the side and top of the head, working up the side and up and over. I'm thinking about this being like a ball. So on the sides it's moving away from the light source. It's going to get darker, and then as we go up it's going to steadily get lighter, so I'm going to keep everything nice and blended but getting steadily lighter as we go to the top, keeping all my pencil work nice and smooth and blended. Then as I go down the other side I'm going to get darker. Add some more fur shapes, adjust some things. Now same with this side, just like we did with the other side. Define underneath that eye. Maybe add some more darkness above this one. And then just shade it in. I'm starting down lower. Watching out for those whiskers, leaving some white right next to them so they stand out. I'll leave that. Jump over. And then shade in those dark markings all the way up. Red pandas are so cool. They are quickly becoming one of my favorites to draw. Here's a red panda fact. Did you know that they are not related to pandas? It makes sense though. They look different. Similar, but really different. They look more like raccoons or something. Another fact is they are nocturnal and they like to eat bamboo, so that's like a panda, but they do like to eat bamboo and other plants and fruit and insects and small mammals, so quite a variety. So just like the other ear, we're going to shade this one in. It's not as dark in the picture, so we're going to follow suit, go a little bit lighter. Now the back side of their ear has some dark fur, so we'll shade that in. Now you'll see me draw something and then I'll go back to it and I'll revisit it. Like this eye, I've worked on them a few times. That's kind of what you need to do. You need to draw and then kind of keep working back over things, because you'll see things. Stuff will pop out at you and you'll want to change it. I'll get the corner there. Now for those whiskers, I'll just darken those shapes a little bit. I like to work around on the picture and just develop it together, not just focusing on one specific area, but just work the whole picture together. See the whole thing together. I like to go over the lines too and just go a little bit darker, especially on the edge. Not all the lines need to be dark, but I think some of them should, because it helps it to become just a stronger silhouette. A little easier to visually understand. I wanted to change that ear. So there you have it, a red panda. Front view. I want to go back over this and darken it up. That'll help it to look a little more round. Also, they have a little forehead, so we want to darken that so it dips down nicely towards the snout.